Top 1% of UK taxpayers pay 33% of the total income tax that is collected.
The statistics of millionaires leaving the country like never before. That is a scary cycle to be in.
This is how people make tax-free money. Hey, I'm Russell Leeds.
And I'm Anna Leeds.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. So this week, we're going to be talking about a Times article where they revealed that the top 1% of UK taxpayers.
Yep.
Because we hear this rhetoric a lot, don't we? The rich need to pay their fair share. We'll get this. Top 1% of UK taxpayers pay 33% of the total income tax that is collected.
Yeah.
So 1%, they're paying 33% of total collected. The figures, I've got them here.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
So that is 500,000 people, which is the size of, say, somewhere like Sheffield.
Yeah.
Are paying 93.8 billion. And the only reason that we know this is because the Times went to HMRC and they did a freedom of information request because HMRC would not tell you this.
No, of course not.
And they found this out. So when we hear Labour talking about making the rich pay their fair share, they already are.
Oh, they're paying way more than their fair share.
That is a controversial statement. But I actually agree with you. It's it's going to piss people off in the comments, you saying that. But I agree with you. Here's the thing, right? So I looked at all the tax collected. Now, obviously, you can't expect children to pay tax.
No, of course not.
Right? But I looked at all the tax collected by the UK government. And if you divide it by the number of households there are, that will give you a really good idea of how much the average household, kids, wife, husband, whatever it is, the average household costs to live in the UK. So if you're talking about things like the NHS, having roads, having schools, having, amenities, facilities, police, firemen, all this stuff that you kind of need. How much do you reckon it actually costs for the government to
per household?
Per household. And by the way,
I reckon it's quite...
They'll waste some of this because some of this stuff will go on things like their new government logo, which cost £500,000 quid. And
the M6 to be redone for the 20th time in my lifetime.
It hasn't been redone for... Is it still being redone?
It's never actually...
It's just they just moved the roadworks down a bit. It's just a different little stretch.
It's like, I don't know if I've ever been on the M6 between Junction 7 and Junction 10 and there not been some form of roadworks in my whole lifetime. It is just ridiculous. The amount of money then was spent on that.
But exactly. All that stuff.
Okay. So, maybe around the £30,000.
Are you joking? You know all this already, don't you? Because that is bang on.
Is it? No, I've just guessed.
You did not guess.
I did.
You've looked at my notes before we started. I don't know. Oh, maybe the exact figure that it is.
I swear I hadn't.
It is 30 grand.
Is it?
Yeah, you're either a genius,
bang on.
either a genius or a liar, is what you are. So 30 grand.
Very lucky.
Very lucky. Now these rich people, on average, these 500,000 people, some of them will pay more. It won't be even, but they are paying 190-ish grand.
Yeah.
And this is just in income tax. They'll pay lots of other taxes as well.
Yeah.
So that 30 grand figure, by the way, that is total tax. This is just income tax. So that means they're paying for their household, next door's household, next door, next door. And it's like, you're not paying your fair share. Tell you who's not paying their fair share? The people that are on benefits.
Yeah. Who've got no reason to be on benefits just because.
I saw a stat. I'm going to look it up. Maybe you might know.
I could guess again.
You could, I didn't put this in my notes, so you won't be able to guess this one correctly. 18 to 24-year-olds.
Yeah.
What percentage of them do you think are not in work?
I reckon it's around 40%.
40%? What makes you think it's so high? I mean, maybe. I saw a stat.
30 to 40% of them?
It was something ridiculous. I need to try and find the stats.
That stat wasn't on your notes.
That stat wasn't in my notes, but it was something
30 to 40%?
Ridiculous. Like that. I can't remember what it was, so don't quote me on it. I mean, quote Anna on it. She'll get it bang on. No, it was This episode is brought to you by Build Wealth with Property. It is a completely free 1-hour webinar where you can learn tax-free strategies and the best ways to invest in property. Check it out. Link below. I'll see you there. 16%. You kind of over-egged it there, the 30 to 40. But yeah.
That's what it feels like.
But they should all be in work.
Yeah.
16%. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, they're the ones that should be paid. That we should be doing something about. The government wasting the money.
Yeah.
So I think it's crazy. So I not saying they're not paying their fair share is an absolute joke. They're paying their fair share. Everyone else is. They pay more. 1% pay more than the bottom 50% of earners, not including people on benefits. The bottom 50% of earners combined.
Yeah, which is crazy. And I get it. Like, what everyone's mentality is tax the rich.
Yeah.
Because they think they've got the money to just, but it's not like, oh, yeah, but we do get taxed way more anyway. It's not like they say, okay, everyone gets taxed 20%. Like, as you earn more, you get taxed more. So, like, income tax at the high end is like 45%. You're getting nearly 50%.
Half your money. I mean, I think
it's getting taken off you anyway.
For me personally, when I earn money here in the UK, at least half of it goes on different taxes.
Of
so
course.
when I go out there, at least half, if not more.
So what are people when they say tax the rich? What I don't get is, like you say, half our money goes on taxes anyway. How much more do they think we should pay? Do they think it should be the rich should earn all that money and not have any of it? They should give it all so people can live on benefits.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how much more they think the rich should be taxed.
It is crazy. The other thing is, in 1999, the top 1% paid around 20%.
Yeah.
So it's gone up significantly. It's 33. So it's gone up significantly in that time as well. So when we're saying the rich aren't paying enough, their contribution has actually risen significantly over the last sort of 25 years, which is also interesting. Like you mentioned, it's 45%. It's one of the highest.
But this is where they could be in real trouble, though, because with those stats, like they've also announced, the rich are fleeing.
Well, here's an interesting thing for you.
And I think that's scary because
if they hit them too hard, which they're doing, you're bang on correct. People are going to start leaving. Here's an interesting thing. If 10% of that top 1%, which is not a lot of people, by the way, 10% of 1%, 0.1% of the population, right? It's not a lot. And it's going to be the rich people that go because they're the ones that are getting hammered.
Yeah.
And the whole press is all hammering them. If 10% of the top 1% left, HMRC would lose 9 billion a year. 9 billion. That's more than the entire Home Office budget.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening. So they're putting up the taxes. People are leaving.
Yeah. But the people that are leaving are the ones that are paying the taxes. They're getting more and more people in the country that are on the benefits.
Yeah.
And they're battering the people who actually create an income, create jobs. And they're the ones that are going. And if they're not careful, we're already in a bit of a mess. That is a very scary circle.
It is.
Because they've also, the statistics of people, millionaires are leaving the country like never before. And more people are living on benefits. We've got less jobs than ever before. That is a scary cycle to be in. They're going to have to come up with a different way, surely, to run it before the whole thing collapses in on itself.
Well, I think that the key should be they should try and get people spending more, because when people spend more and they need
but
to
then to spend more, people need to earn more.
They need to create growth. That's what they need to do. They need to, if anything, cut taxes. They need to encourage entrepreneurs, encourage people creating new jobs, encourage and discourage people going on benefits.
Yeah,
they need to make it really difficult to go on benefits. It's not really easy. I know loads of, because obviously, we came from a poor background. We're, Warsaw, Wolverhampton. I know loads of people who we used to know who are like, there's no point in getting a job. I get more on benefits.
Yeah. Like, why would that ever be the case? why on earth would it be better to sit on benefits than to have, like, they were talking about just your start-up retail job?
Yeah.
And they're right. I can't believe how little you earn working full-time in retail when you just go in, because I used to do it. And like, you earn, at the time, back in 2008, when I first got a job, I worked almost full-time, but my friend did. And she earned 12 grand a year to work full-time.
This was many years ago, though.
Yeah, I just said 2008.
2008. So how many years ago is that? About 16?
Yeah. But
17?
even back then, that's hardly a 12 grand. So, okay, it has gone up. Maybe it's like more like 18 grand now.
Yeah.
But still, to work a full-time job, you're right, you're better off on benefits, aren't you? Because why bother? See, I bother because for me, I wouldn't want to just sit at home doing nothing, because that's just not my personality. But I understand why people did back then. I got it. Like, when people were like, well, why? Because then I had other friends working their asses off for companies for like 12 grand a year.
Yeah,
and you
but it should be that's your only option. You don't have the
Yeah.
option to sit on benefits if
Unless
you're
you've
capable
got
of working.
a
Yeah,
certain situation.
it should be a lot more. I think it should be a lot more difficult. A lot of people on the comments, because I posted about this on LinkedIn.
Oh yes, I love reading stupid comments.
Are sort of saying, we should be taxing the wealth. We should be taxing the wealth, not work. Thing is, it's very difficult just to tax wealth, because you might have someone who's spent their whole life earning money and they've bought themselves some assets, but now they're no longer earning money. Just because you own stuff doesn't mean you're getting paid for owning stuff.
We've spoken about this before, haven't we? Like, just because you own a mansion doesn't mean you're cash rich.
I like this comment. The solution is not tax the rich, it's end the squander.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So here's what I want to talk about today. So bearing all this in mind, hopefully you're listening to this not because you're annoyed by the title of the 1%. Hopefully you're listening to this because you either are in the 1% or you want to be in the 1%. You want to be earning more money. So what we want to talk about is, how can you actually...
What about if they're the one that's like, tax the rich?
Tax the rich. Well, they might be listening to it. They'll just be listening to it to troll us below.
Yeah,
So
I sit on the dole.
We appreciate the engagement. So hopefully you're listening to this because you either want to get in the 1% or you want to find ways to make money. So I thought we'd talk a bit about how you can make money in property and pay no tax, because we make money in lots of different ways. We make money through our businesses. All the money we make from our businesses, you tend to get hit quite hard with taxes. There's certain things you can do with property where you can make money and pay very little tax. So the big one is capital appreciation.
Yeah.
So we know that properties go up in value over time. It's basically ring fencing your money, right? Because if you've got money sitting in the bank, it's shrinking because of inflation. They've just announced, I think inflation is 3.8% or something at the moment. So inflation's really high.
Yeah. So over time, your money becomes
shrinking. If you've got 50
worthless.
grand sitting in the bank, in 10 years' time, at sort of current inflation rates, or the last inflation rates over the last sort of 10 years, your 50 grand, even with the interest, 1% interest, on paper's 55, in reality is 41.
Yeah.
Because you've lost money over time. When you put money into property, it makes it inflation proof because it goes up higher than inflation on average. On average, it doubles every 10 years. You're actually beating inflation, which is amazing, and making money from it as well. And people often doubt that. Oh, property prices don't double every 10 years. You're right. They don't double every 10 years. But on average, they do. If you go back...
Of course, it goes a bit up and down. It's not just like, oh, I want my property to be worth exactly.
No. So, for example, 1973, house prices were 10 grand on average.
Yeah.
By 1975, they dropped to 2. Sorry, they dropped by 3 to 7.
Yeah.
2 years later. By 1980...
I was thinking,
that's a big drop, that is. Yeah, dropped 2 years, I meant. Dropped to 7. So they've gone from 10 in 1973 to 7 2 years later. By 1980, they were back to 10.
Yeah.
So you're like, we've gone 7 years now and they've stayed the same.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened. So that, if you looked over that 10 years, there's no way they'd have doubled from 1970 to 1980. However, after they went back to 10 in 1980, they then shot up to 70 by 1989.
Yeah, which is insane, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's like 4 or 5 decades worth. So it doesn't just go up in a nice smooth line.
No.
It will go up a little bit, down a little bit. If it will rock it up a little bit, then it might go down a bit, and it just moves its way through like that, right? So then we know in the early 1990s it dropped from 70 to 55. So it's always moving.
Yeah.
But on average it's going up. But if you sort of average it all out, it doubles every 10 years. So if you buy a property, let's say you buy a property for 200 grand and you just keep it for 10 years and it's now worth 400 grand.
Yep.
You've made 200 grand in cash.
Yep.
Right. But if you want to get your hands on that money and you sell the property, you then got to pay either corporation tax if you're in for
Yep.
or capital gains tax.
Yep.
If you refinance it, you don't pay tax on it. You can get a new mortgage against it because you don't pay tax on debt. You can get a chunk of money in your pocket and it's all tax-free.
Yep.
So people have been doing that for years as a way of pulling tax-free money out of assets. So I'd recommend you doing it. However, where it gets really good is if you don't wait for it to go up in value. You force the value up by adding value to the property.
Yeah.
So a couple of examples. One of our students, a guy called Elijah, he bought a flat in London for 175 grand.
Yep.
And the reason it was so cheap was it had a short lease. So the leasehold, it had about, I don't know, 60 years or something left on the lease. It was a short lease. He then spent 45 grand extending the lease and did a little bit of a refurb. Right, so he's now like 45, he's now like on 220 or something. He spent, it then got revalued at 325, which meant he could pull out all the money he invested and some extra on top, all tax-free. So we, buy, refurbish, refinance.
Yep.
This is how people make tax-free money. You buy a property that's got a problem with it,
Yep.
an issue, you fix the problem, and then you pull your money out. It's all tax-free, which is great. However, I know a lot of people that sell the property and still get it tax-free. And all you need to do is buy it to live in.
Yep.
So if you buy a property, you buy a rundown property and you move into it, you renovate it up, you live there for a year or so, renovate it, make it really nice, sell it, all that capital appreciation that you've made, tax-free money.
There was a story that hit the newspaper not long ago, wasn't there? Wow. It's just gone through the courts because they made quite a lot of tax-free money, didn't they? Like a few million.
Oh, it was like 10 million.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they bought a rundown mansion.
In Chelsea.
Yeah, did it up, but they lived in it and
Well,
then
HMRC
sold it after 6 months or something really short, because some apparently someone paid above the odds for it, and they got like 10 million of tax-free money, and it went to court, but they won because
HMRC took them to court and lost,
Yep,
which is amazing.
yep,
And the argument, HMRC's argument is, you've got to be a bit careful with this. This is a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. HMRC's argument was, well,
they never ever intended of living in it. They didn't really live on it. They just wanted the tax-free money, was basically their point.
You just pretended,
Yeah.
got it renovated, and then, oh, it's my main residence. But the court looked at things like, there was a few, so they changed the electoral roll to that property.
They moved a whole like wine cellar of wine in, didn't they? So they bought all their wine there. They believed that they had every intent. They threw a few big
housewarming
parties there. So they believed that they had every intention of living there.
Yeah. So I suppose it's an interesting point is, if you're going to use this strategy, you need to you can't, because if you make too much money, HMRC are going to be like, sniff it around. Are you just pretending it's your main residence? Whereas with these guys, they proved that they genuinely were living there. Because people often ask me, is there a minimum number of months you've got to live there? Or it's just got to be your main home. You just got to prove that it was your main home. Like you mentioned, these guys were only in there 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think it was really good that HMRC lost that, because I think if they'd won that, that would have been it would have it made the whole thing a little bit. I think then you would have to be living in it for a good few years to kind of prove that it was your main residence. Well, I think you can get away with probably 9 months. Would you say 9 months to a year?
I would always own it for personally. I would own it for a
year.
year, but it's going to take you a good chunk of time to. You're going to take you 6 months to renovate it anyway.
Yeah, I think this is a brilliant strategy. To be honest, multiple friends of mine have done this, lived in houses, done them up while living there. I think it's brilliant. I think for me personally, we've never actually done that.
To live in it ourselves.
To live in it ourselves while we're renovating it. Just because I think pre-kids, I would have been well up for that. And a lot of the people I know that have done it haven't got little kids.
Would you not? You wouldn't want to do it now because you wouldn't want the kids to have to live in the work.
Yeah, I just think like with having little kids and doing it would be a bit of a nightmare. Even though I know people that have done it with little kids, and we've got some friends actually that have just recently joined our academy, haven't we? But they've actually just done up a house, just refinanced and pulled all their money out.
Oh, loads of our students do this again and every year.
I think
move house every year. They've got other stuff going on as well, but they'll move in somewhere, buy it, and they're making like $100,000 a year. It's all tax free. To make $100,000 a year tax free is the equivalent of like a $200,000 a year job.
Yeah, I also think it's really good if you're living in it, you're very hands on. So either. Like, I know people that have done it where, like, their husband's the one that actually does it up.
He's a builder or something.
Because he's a builder.
Yeah.
So even better, because obviously you're saving all that money as well. But if not, it still means you're really hands-on. I think with some projects, like, if it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and then you're like, oh, and the builders are left to it. And I do think if you actually live in the property, the builders can't pull the same tricks.
Oh, it'll definitely get done faster. You're there every day. You know what they're doing.
Yeah. So I do think it's such a good way of like doing BRRs, like, and actually living in them, because I just think it'll get done fast. You're on it because you can't forget about it because you're living in it. I do think it's a really exciting way to do it. And
it also could be a good strategy if you're planning on, let's say you're living in a house right now and you're thinking, I want to move. If you move house, that means that you're going to have to pay stamp duty on the house that you buy, which is a big tax. So we know people like around here who, if they moved house, it's going to cost them like $300,000 in stamp duty.
Yeah.
Whereas if they do this and they renovate their existing house, when they come to sell it, that uplift is tax-free money.
Yeah. So around here, they're choosing to do that a lot.
A lot of people are renovating their homes.
Yeah.
It works really well. This strategy works really well, I think, in like nice areas. Works well everywhere, really. But anywhere, any problem property, short lease properties is great.
Yeah.
You want the worst property, the better.
Yeah. What you want to do is find the worst house on a nice street.
Yeah, because it's got a good street value.
Yeah. Because you do have to be a little bit careful, because obviously streets have a value. There is no point in going to a street that the top house that's done up really nice is £110,000, buying a really run down one for £95,000, ploughing 30 grand into it, because it's never going to be valued. They're never suddenly going to go, oh, this one's worth £250,000 now.
Yeah.
Because you can't, like, there's no point in building a mansion in a council estate, because it's not going to be worth anywhere near what you're going to plough into building it. Obviously,
no, I agree.
They probably wouldn't even allow that, but do you know what I'm saying? So it's better to go to a really nice street that you think, okay, this is the value. All the houses, £400,000. Oh, what's this one? Why is this one only $250,000? Because it's the crap one in the street, and then build that one up to standard, because you know you'll then get the money for it.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, so there you go, guys.
On that word of genius.
On that insight there, we're going to end. But I'm Russell Leeds.
And I'm Anna Leeds.
We'll see you next week.